Hello everyone, hope you are doing great. Welcome to Web Design and Construction course. We are in first chapter, that is Basics of Web Design. In this chapter, at the end of this chapter, you'll be able to describe the evolution of internet. You'll be able to understand the basics of network. You'll identify the network protocols and the usage. Also, you'll be able to describe how internet works, and you'll know what is markup language and how to use it. And at the end of this chapter, you'll be able to create your first basic web page. So let's get started. So I have splitted this chapter into 5 sections. So the first section is evolution of internet, and the next section is network basics, and then after that the third section is internet protocols, and then fourth section is we'll learn about how does the internet work, and the fifth section, the final section, is network markup languages, how to code web pages by using markup languages. So these are the 5 sections that covers all the concepts that we are going to discuss about what we are going to learn. Particularly in this whole course, you're going to learn about the programming languages, how to code your website and how to add designs by using CSS, how to code the content by using HTML. So that is the primary focus for this course. In this chapter, you'll learn the foundation to learn all those basic, all those web design concept. So in this particular chapter, you will get to know what are the things happening behind the scene when you access the internet, when you access a particular website. What are the things happening behind the scene? Okay, so you will get that basic understanding in this chapter, in this particular chapter. So let's get started from the evolution of internet. So what is internet? How that the word comes from, internet. So you can get it, like internet means interconnected network. It doesn't need to be, it could be 4 computers connected together or billions of computers connected together. But if some few computers, 2 or 3 computers connected together, that is called network, right? So the first network was formed in 1969. Okay, so the first network was named as ARPANET. Okay, so that network was formed for the educational and research purpose. The first network connected 4 computers. Actually, the very first network connected just 4 computers. The 4 computers are from University of California, Los Angeles, University of California, Santa Barbara, and Stanford University and University of Utah. So these 4 universities' computer got connected together in the first network form. That is around 1969. After that, with the fund from National Science Foundation, the NSF-Net was formed around 1985. Okay, so during that time, from 1969 to 85, the internet was actually limited to government usage, research, and academic purpose. So around 1991, the internet was commercialized. So actually 1993, the World Wide Web concept was developed and the internet became available for the public usage. Okay, so at the same time you can look at the image that is given here. So ARPANET, after that NSFNet, around 1993, the first graphical web browser was developed and it's a Mosaic. It was the first graphical web browser. So after that, after World Wide Web, a lot of things happened, and so after that there was a rapid development. Okay, so now we are in the era of Internet of Things, right? Okay, so who was the person behind? So how that like the development came, the when and how the World Wide Web concept was developed. So around 1989, this gentleman, Tim Berners-Lee, created World Wide Web concept. So he developed around 1991. Berners-Lee developed HTML and HTTP. So HTML is Hypertext Markup Language, and Hypertext Transfer Protocol. He made it like he published these two things to purposely to communicate between the scientists. So for to enable the communication between the scientists around the world, he developed this concept. Okay, so that was uh, the initial development. That was the first time the concept World Wide Web was developed. Okay, so if you want to understand more about HTML, what is HTML and HTTP, I strongly suggest you to watch this video from Khan Academy that explains very clearly what is HTML and what is HTTP and how these two things work together to form the internet. So you can pause the video and play this, like click the link to see the video on basics of HTML and HTTP. Okay, so the next thing that we are going to see about the graphical web browser, right? So around 1993, I said the graphical web browser was developed. So why was that is very important. So that is the very basic reason for the gigantic development of internet. The reason is not only the computer professionals, anyone can access the internet. So because of that concept, the internet become very popular. But the origin of that concept is from 1993. So the first graphical web browser was developed and named as Mosaic. Okay, so the interesting thing is that Mosaic was developed by graduate students like you, in University of Illinois, which is really amazing. And then, which is the ancestor of the Netscape Navigator, which is very popular, which used to be a very popular browser. So this Mosaic was the like it got expanded as Netscape Navigator later in days. But right now there are numerous number of web browsers are there, graphical web browsers are there. You can see there are different web browsers like Opera, Internet Explorer, Safari, Firefox. But very popular one that everyone is almost using is Google Chrome is the very popular one in terms of desktop. But for the mobile browsers, Safari takes the next place, right? So these are the evolution of browsers from starting from Mosaic. Now we are in Google Chrome. So there were a lot of developments happened in between on the browser field. Okay, so we know how internet is like taking is becoming important parcel of our life. But what are the features that makes the internet much easier to access? Makes it very popular. So the first thing is convergence of computer hardware. That is, the size and cost of the computer hardware was getting decreased, and then the quality of the hardware was increased, and then easy to use operating systems like around 1990s the operating systems um, become GUI, graphical user interface developed operating systems makes it easier for everyone to access computer. And the next thing is low cost internet connectivity. That is, after commercialization, the cost of the internet connection is getting lower. And then the graphical web browser, the development of graphical web browser makes it easier for everyone to access. So all these things help to make the internet popular, right? This much popular. Okay, so let's discuss about the milestones. Like from the starting to right now, what are the things happen? What are the important milestones in the history of internet? So around 1969, the first network was formed named as ARPANET that connected four computers, and around 1971 the first email was developed, and then around 1990 the affordable personal computers got developed. In the meantime, the GUI operating system was developed, and in 1991 internet got commercialized, and in 1992 around that period the world wide web concept was developed by Tim Berners-Lee, and world wide web, the website, like the internet was released actually. And in 1993 the graphical web browser was developed so that even common people can access the browser. And around 2004 social media was getting launched and makes the internet very popular. And the very important milestone is around 2007 the iPhone, the smartphone got released, which is the very big milestone. After that the internet usage got exceptionally got increased after that. Okay, so these are the important milestones behind the evolution of internet. Okay, so in the next section we are going to discuss about network basics. Okay, so see you in the next lecture.